What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. Breaking news around the Qatar bid, or the former bid, and we are going to jump straight into it. No messing about, no other topics. This is the big story, the main story at the moment, so make sure you stay tuned in and get your opinions in the comments section. Quite a few people have been kind of putting stuff out about this, but I want to start with the Ben Jacobs kind of article first, and I'll try sum it up for people in kind of layman's terms so they understand it, and then we can start to discuss it. So, the Ben Jacob quote basically highlights that Sheikh Jassim officially pulled out of the sale, as we know, October the 15th, 2023, right? The Qatar bid faced issues as it constantly failed to provide standard documents confirming their financial commitment. Additionally, there was no mention of promised investment. People with inside information repeatedly mentioned that what Qatar presented in public relations did not align with the actual substance of their offer in reality. In essence, there were discrepancies between the public image of Qatar's bid and the practical aspects leading to Sheikh Jassim's withdrawal from the sale. Now, lads, after reading this, there's obviously a lot more to this article and a lot of the bits that we're going to discuss. Can you start to get a picture now of why this was dragging on so long? Because it seems like a fucking minefield, doesn't it?
Who's that to? Anyone?
Yeah, you go, Sam. Talk to me about this.
Yeah. From what I read, there was, 100 and odd people who expressed interest in the thing, and then there was like 70 odd minority people, and then there was like 30 or something who actually got paperwork and a prospectus or what have you, and then there was like maybe 10 who actually submitted documentation and all that sort of stuff. But it just seems like through all this complex, there was a lot of people who, there's a term that I like to use called selling wolf tickets. It's basically
shout out Nick Diaz.
There you go. Aaron knows. So there's a lot of people selling wolf tickets, basically, like boasting about money and boasting about stuff that they don't actually have and saying they do. And that's what seems like it's been going on there. In particular, Qatar, because the article mentions they repeatedly asked for certain documentation, proof of funds, filling out certain things, and they weren't able to produce it or prove it or fill these out, which basically means either A, he didn't have the money in the first place, or he wasn't willing to produce evidence of it. So I don't know which one it is, but that's what it seems like it's going on. And all these Qatari people saying, oh, he'll blow him out of the water and he'll do this, he'll do that. On evidence, when it comes to like submitting the documentation, it seems like he can't prove that he could do any of that, which is why Jim Radcliffe then pivoted, made his offer, and is now why he's in the position he's in, because he was able to produce all his evidence, all his documentation, and submit and be successful.
Aaron, there is two sides to this coin, though, because one, I appreciate the information that's been put out by a very credible journalist. You know, we've had Muppeteers on, very, very good. Ben Jacobs as well, equally been very good around a takeover. But could you also look at it and think that's maybe a little bit of spin, bit of glazer PR? Was any of that in your head when you first initially saw these kind of quotes coming out?
Yeah, it did enter my mind. You know, the English media and that as well, they do like to push a certain narrative or a certain perspective on things. So there is that. But I kind of agree a bit with Sam, where I know that when I listen to TalkSport sometimes and they have Simon Jordan on, I know he's a bit controversial on that, but he's pretty bang on when he talks about like ownership and business models. And I remember when Arsenal were being talked about, and it was that guy that owned like Spotify or something,
yeah,
and he was talking about partnering with Bergkamp and Henry, and Simon Jordan said about the guy that makes the most noise is the guy that's not actually going to back up what he's saying. And when I look about it now, Qatari leaks or in the nose were the ones that were pushing the most on like social media, on Twitter, etc. And Jim Ratcliffe was pretty quiet. He came out every so often and spoke, but like on the basis he was pretty quiet. So maybe Qataris were blagging on what they were going to offer, because they were saying investment in the area, all this that everyone obviously were drawn to. I was drawn to it. I think you were as well, Nick. But you know, you're going to say anything. It's like a politician, and you're going to say anything until you're in that position.
Are you telling me politicians lie?
Yeah,
that's the first for me.
Just a little bit, the smallest bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. You don't know what to believe, because obviously different media outlets have different narratives or whatever, but I think it is believable because, like I say, people are going to play to the gallery, going to tell people what they want to hear, and you can kind of see why this whole process was just how long it was, because it doesn't seem like anyone knows exactly who was saying what.
No, that's why I'm so kind of cautious to kind of jump into it and be like, oh yeah, bullshit, like I'm very
exactly.
Can I just say the documentation that has been like revealed and stuff like that, it has to be truthful, credible documentation because of what it is, financial documents and submitting to buy shares, all that stuff. It has to be 100% truthful and 100% like honest.
Yeah.
So
doesn't you have to have evidence of like proof of funds and stuff like that?
Exactly. So this stuff that's coming out isn't necessarily spin because it has to be truthful, because it has to be submitted through regulatory bodies and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of it is 100% truthful. It's not spin. Like there's not.
No, I wasn't suggesting the financial figures and stuff. Yeah. I was suggesting the way it's been put and the way it's been put out in the media and the way it's been worded and certain things.
Ben Jacobs, I know he is a British guy, but he's actually a Middle Eastern correspondent.
Yeah.
Like he lives out there. I think he lives in Bahrain, I believe. Mm-hmm. He reports on Saudi Arabia and all sorts of stuff. So again, it's not a British journalist or British paper spinning it. This is a guy who lives out there. This is Middle East, so pretty much as legit as you can get. This is not Neil Custard at the Sun, or do you know what I mean? That kind of stuff like this.
I know, where's he at? October, Neil Custard, you fucking lying bastard. Yeah, you talk about politicians, he fits the fucking bill for that.
Don't believe mate. Anything the Sun puts out, don't believe it. It's
absolute
just
bollocks.
Full of shit. All of
absolute bollocks, yeah. And we've got that to reference. It's interesting, Shreyas, I want to bring you in on this bit. I'm not expecting to be any kind of financial expert, because I'm definitely not myself, but there was a bit excuse me, that explains that the board of directors insisted on equal consideration for Class A and Class B shares during the sale of Manchester United. The Qatar bid didn't meet this requirement, and Manchester United representatives informed Sheikh Jassim that the board wouldn't proceed if Class A shareholders received less per share than the Class B shareholders without sufficient financing evidence. It also mentions a change in Ratcliffe's approach in July 2023. Rain, handling the sale, engaged with numerous potential buyers, but only 8 progressed to the second round. The passage emphasises the importance of truthfulness in regulatory filings. That's what it's saying. But my whole kind of thing around this and the whole Qatar bid in general, there seemed to be a lot of shadiness, didn't there? Like, even when you look at, when they went to Old Trafford, they were saying, so Jim Ratcliffe went round, had a look at Carrington, had a look at other things, and Sheikh Jassim's representative just went in and just wanted to start business straight away. And Sheikh Jassim himself wasn't much dialect. It was, if you remember that bit with Rain Group.
There was only about 3 images of Sheikh Jassim as well.
He's AI. He's AI, isn't he? He's not real.
Yeah.
He's not a real person.
I think personally, from what I've seen, not talking about Sheikh Jassim, but Qatar as a whole, I've seen whenever they've wanted something, they've got it, especially when it comes to the financial side of things, and especially, when it comes to winning contracts and bids. They are very, very difficult to actually beat, because when it comes to buying power, they are practically one of the countries that are at the top when it comes to buying power. And I think the fact that it took so long, and because we were here, when not now, but in that October, before that pre-October part as well, there was a massive chunk of time where we were just hearing that Qatar is in the lead and Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not in the lead, but there wasn't anything credible coming out which stated why Qatar are in the lead. What have they actually done that has put them in the lead in front of, Sir Jim Ratcliffe? And one thing from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's side has always been, whenever a bid has been put in, or whenever, we've seen that, he has an edge over Qatar right now, it's come from credible sources. It's always come from, the names that we are hearing right now, it's always come from those names. And when you talk about Qatar, you don't hear any major journalists actually coming out, who actually know what the stuff around the takeover and have been quite accurate with it. And they haven't really put out anything with, on a public forum that Qatar have done this and they're going in for the lead. All we have heard is, even up until now, we still didn't even know what offer they actually put in. Someday it was 5.5 billion, someday it was 6 billion, someday it was just 4 billion, 5 billion. So it was always big question marks. And I think, considering the Glazers, they handed the reins of, this entire process to the Rain Group. And when it comes to buying such a big commodity like Manchester United, there is going to be a process. and there definitely is going to be a procedure with which you can buy. It's not that, any person who maybe has the cash for it, they come in and they want to buy it on their own terms. That doesn't happen. The person who is selling will be selling it to you on their own terms, especially when it comes to a football club. You cannot, buy it on your own terms, because there's tons of legality that you need to go through. So it's not something that you can just, toss around and say, this fits my convenience and this doesn't, so let's go with this. You cannot just go about it in that manner. And maybe because the Glazers were in the hope that maybe Qatar are able to, provide you with those sort of documents which they needed, that sort of evidence when it comes to their financials. Maybe that's why they were dragging it out for so long. And maybe even up until, that Christmas point, they were still hopeful that maybe Qatar are able to, provide us with this amount of cash. And if we even see some sort of evidence that they do have it, then probably they were leaning towards that side, and that's why we saw a lot of delay. It started around November last year and it ended in December this year. So considering how fast this process went, because I think by the time it was March, not even March, I think by the time pre-season started, we all knew that there are only two people in the running. It's not that there were a lot of people around. It was only two people in the running since pre-season. So if you're dragging it out from pre-season to December, there needs to be something that, must be actually holding you off. So I think maybe the hope for Qatar to actually develop those sort of funds, or just show the evidence that they have that sort of funding, maybe that's why they were just holding it out for too long. And that's why we saw whatever we saw from Surgeon Practice side as well, because it's always been very clear cut and precise when it comes to his side. It's not been, whenever Qatar came in with a bid, Twitter used to overload. You used to see hundreds and thousands of sources actually coming in.
Accounts.
Something is happening. Something is happening tonight. It will happen tonight. It will happen tomorrow. And what they were used to, what they used to do is they were used to be very smart when they used to be coming out with this bid, because they used to contact one of those ex-players. Because I remember Rio Ferdinand came out once and said that this will be done by the next month. They always used to pick out figures who the fans actually know, especially club legends, because when they say something, of course, a major chunk of the fan base will be going, this is going to be happening really soon. And when that didn't happen, it can actually cloud your judgment a lot, that if you're trying to actually promote it on that scale and still you're not able to deliver on it, there must be something, there must be something off.
Look at the Qataris knew exactly what they was doing, and I think likewise with both sides, we saw a lot of stuff coming out from the Times Sport for Ratcliffe. And the Times in general, and then a lot of stuff from the Qatari side with Mike Keegan and a few other people. We've got quite a few people in the chat. I'm just going to read out some comments. Make sure you smash a like if you're just glad this fucking whole process is over in the first place. Charlie saying, if I understand this right, Qatar was just a smokescreen, nothing more. This makes me a bit disappointed. Pretty much looks like they weren't as serious as reported, if that's what's been reported is true. The more I hear, it makes me a little angry. Jassim tried to sell a dream, tricked everyone, and now we see what it really is. Tim99 saying, I suspect a lot of communication was bad on all sides. And Mr. Z said, oi lads, hope you're all good. A few members in the chat. There's going to be a members video dropping this week. Top 10 games from the last decade, and there's some absolute fucking belters in there. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That is dropping it this week at some point. Was you going to jump in then, Aaron? You like about to say
yeah, I was going to say, just to add on like the financial side, it always was a bit strange to me that he had a reported like net worth or worth of like, wasn't it like 350 billion or something crazy like that?
I think that was the royal family though, wasn't it, in Qatar? I think that was their worth. I think. Yeah.
Well, it was always like he had a substantial more than Sir Jim. I always thought it was a bit strange how he just didn't blow him out the water, because like Shreya said, if he wanted something, and obviously history shows and that if they want something, they go and get it.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was a bit weird how it was like negotiating over like 5.5 to 6 or something like that.
The Qatari flag shaggers were consistently just going on about, oh, he's going to blow Sir Jim out the water, just you wait, and
Yeah, and it never arrived,
did.
and it was always, oh, there's a last hour bid and something, but it was never like what we were
10th hour,
expecting.
11th hour.
We got put through the fucking ringer with that as a channel. Like the amount of different you can go through our YouTube channel and just look at the difference in stories and everything we was hearing. It was like, because it's such a big thing for United to be sort of like, obviously we all hate the Glazers, been here for 18, 19 years. It's a huge story. So if anyone got the slightest bit of news on it, everyone was on it. Well, it was like crap, mate.
We saw that. What was the guy in Swansea who had like 30 odd followers?
Oh, that geezer, yeah, he had like a bet account or something.
Like and then he ended up on Sky. Like the story ended up on Sky Sports, didn't it? It was like a massive story, and then when you traced it back, it was just some random dude in Swansea who had like no Twitter following. But there's a line.
Personally,
sorry, Shreyas,
I'll
finish this, and then there's a line for Ben Jacobs here, and it basically says. There is no mention on the letters or paperwork of the pledged investment from Qatar. So they pledged all this investment, didn't they, about investing in the area, stadium stuff. There's no mention in that on any of the paperwork that they submitted. And then also the reality Qatar's offer did not match the PR, which is what like Aaron touched on. There's all this like stuff being spoke about in the loudest person in the room, and the reality of the offer is it didn't match any of it. So they got a social media campaign pretty much to sort of get them through the door, when in reality they didn't have the financial nous and the paperwork to back it up. That's the reality.
Because what was being pushed was that they'd pledged $1 billion for the surrounding area.
Yeah.
And obviously.
And then it was confusion, wasn't it, whether that was involved in the actual part of the bid. Are they saying 5.2 billion, but then $1 billion of it is around the area?
It wasn't in the paperwork. It wasn't mentioned at all in the paperwork, which just shows. Was it? It's
one of them, like, you know, when your mate says, if you pay for the taxi, I'll buy you a drink when I get in the club. That's basically what the situation was.
And then you don't see him for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and he's fucked off for the rest of the night, and you're like, yeah, nice one. Well, that taxi's just cost me 39 quid, and you won't even buy me a fucking double whisker. Ronnie Dodd just put a £2 super chat in saying, now we should all give Sir Jim a chance to improve us. I think a lot of people were open, well, on this channel, I know a lot of people were open to it. I'm still not fully sold. I'm not. Like, it's just my personal opinion. I want to see progress first. I want to see what... And I know what they're starting to implement and certain things they're looking at, and it seems promising, but it doesn't always work out like that. There was a lot of promising things when he first went into Nice, and it didn't quite work out. So I'm apprehensive, but I'm open to the idea, and I hope they can improve United. Because let's be honest, you can't get much worse than what we're already doing.
Nick, we're United fans. We've been hurt before.
So that's what I mean. It's just trust issues, mate. I always, we have trust issues, United fans, and how can you blame us? Shreyas, just before I get into the next bit about Rain Group, was there something you wanted to say then? Because you went to...
Yeah, I just think that every possible angle that, you know, you could approach this whole takeover thing with, we have done it. Like, genuinely, even if you look at our channel and just look at our videos, every possible angle, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's angle, Qatari angle, all 20th, 27th, 131,000th hour bid, we have covered it all. And
the Finnish billionaire from
the possibility that there is a third unknown bidder, maybe that maybe the Glazers are favoring. We've done it all, and the thing is, after covering all this from the Glazers, I think the fact that, you know, I think a lot of it is accurate is because if the Glazers are putting it out as a PR spin as well, it actually hurts their image more, because it just shows that something which was practically done in March, they deliberately held it out till December. That's a big chunk of the season already. You know, it's basically that, you know, it started last season off. We could have had Sir Jim Ratcliffe in before the season even started. So it paints them in a very, very negative image. It does paint Sir Jim Ratcliffe in a very positive image, but at the same time, it paints the Glazers in a very negative image. And I've never seen a PR spin that the Glazers have put out which puts them in a negative light. What they usually do is they deviate the focus from themselves to someone else. And I just don't see it with this sort of news actually coming out.
Yeah, for sure. Sam, I believe, has just gifted 5 memberships. So Mike Fergus, Richie Club Sport, Dino Lewis, Ed Barrett, and Glenn. I cannot say that second name, but I'm just going to call you Glenn because I would butcher the pronouncement of that.
The last name is Fazwana, but the middle name is the one that is giving me trouble.
I'll give it a go. You ready for this?
Go on.
Let's go. You got it. Come on.
Andy Fellaini. Almost sounds like Fellaini, doesn't it? Maro one. So yeah, Happy for the memberships. Like I said at the start of the video, we are dropping a video this week. Top 10 matches from the past 10 years. It's going to be exciting one to grab the highlights on the screen. We'll discuss them in depth. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And obviously, the people who are already members, you're welcome to it. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description or the join button next to the notification bell. It's about £3 a month. Just help support the channel, get us amazing guests on and improve and consistent, all that good stuff. So we're going to move on to the Rain Group because there was an interesting bit, Sam, about that, saying that apparently Rain Group are set to collect $31.5 million dollars in fees for its work advising Manchester United on bringing in a new investor. Rain had contact with 170 interested parties as the Glazers deliberated whether to pursue a minority or outright sale. And the club apparently going to pay this. That's word on the street.
Yeah, there's 52 lawyers, I believe, were involved in the whole rigmarole. And guess who's footing the bill? And I'll give you one clue. It's not the fucking Glazers.
Yeah,
it's club. Club are paying for it.
Exactly.
Much like their private jet that they took from Florida to the Carabao Cup final and back, paid for that shit. Yep. So like, just everything's on the club's dime, innit? Like, don't pay for a fucking thing, these guys. Even when they're trying to make money, like, you know, when you want to make some money, so you pay like something for a service in order to like for your business or what have you. That's just part of owning a business. These fuckers won't even do that. They're like, nah, we're not paying for these shit. Like, let the club pay for it. We're not paying for anything. Not going to put a fucking penny into it.
Because I heard something about someone put a comment on one of my TikToks, and I wish I could remember the specific quote, but it was like, if you put the Glazer family in a room, they would scrap over 5p.
Yeah.
Vulture capitalist. That's what, something along the lines of that. It was worded much better, but I was like, that is so bang on. Like, it's unbelievable.
This is the people who were like, they were going, oh, the Glazers are going to sell, they're going to sell. It's like, they ain't fucking selling nothing. They only sell if they get 100% of what they want and they retain everything they want. That's the only way it happens. And this is the only reason Sir Jim has got this thing through, because they've basically ended up with everything they wanted. They had to have investment into this club to carry on the way they were going. They had to. There was no other way. Like, if they didn't, then the club was going to like go under and just be in serious financial issue. So they had to find investment, whether that is Qatar, media, all that sort of stuff. So they had to do this. And then when they did do it, they realised, oh, we can stay on here, milk the club for more money, but not have to do any of the football shit that we keep getting slagged off on. We keep getting stuff for. We'll find some other patsy to do that, who's going to get all the blame for all the stuff in the pitch, and we could just milk all the commercial revenue out of the cow still. And that's what's gone on. There's literally nothing they do is ever going to benefit anyone else except themselves. And it's the same with this legal thing. They're gone, well, we'll get the most expensive legal firm who ran the Chelsea deal to run this deal for us, and then we won't even fucking pay for it. We'll get the club that we sold a portion of to pay for the fucking bill. Like, it's just, it's
I know Avram,
pure greed,
definitely that pure kind of guy to ask, you know, you like, you pay 50p for something or over, and they'd be like, have you got a 50p, mate? You'd be like, what? You joking?
He's the kind of guy. Do you know if you go out for dinner with people and they've ordered a shit ton of stuff and you've had like two things, like, should we just split it? Should we just split it down? Like, get to fuck, mate. Like, you've just ordered 5 courses and I'm there with it too. Like, get to fuck. Like, he's that kind of just.
Before we get into the next bit about Rain, I want to ask you a question. Who's worse owners, Todd Bowley or the Glazers?
Glazers.
Oh, the Glazers.
Because Todd, I heard a Chelsea fan talking about Todd Bowley before.
He's terrible.
Me.
Todd Bowley is fucking mental, but he's put money in the club. Like, he's actually put money in the club
Of his own. That's the main bit.
They've spent it terribly and they've gone ridiculous, and the way they've set it up is stupid. But he's put money into the club. The Glazers have put nothing. Zero. Like, literally zero. So
if you have to learn ruthless signing from anyone, you need to learn from him, because he starts negotiating. He goes 30 million. They say no. Then his second bid is, okay, 150 million. Done. Let's go. Yeah. Move on.
It's madness, isn't it? What they're doing to some of the owners, and it's absolute craziness. And then you have kind of the lower league teams as well, like Reading. I'm sure you guys have seen the kind of things around that, tennis balls on the pitch. I mean, that's what an idea that is. You can't continue with that. Just go on with like 1,000 tennis balls and just like everywhere. And they're like, well, fuck it. It's gonna take us hours.
I think it was during mid-season that it got announced that there was this company called Qualcomm Snapdragon that will be sponsoring us next season onward. I think that was a big red flag when it came to, for a person who's going to be buying 100% of the club, if you're mid takeover, why would you go in for a completely different sponsor and sign practically a 2 or 3 year deal with someone
That's it.
before the takeover even happens? So
Yeah.
it just, at that point, it showed that whoever is going to come in will not have like complete control over the club, because you can, if he did, then even if Sir Jim Ratcliffe like put in 100%, a bid for 100% of the club, wouldn't he want his own branding or someone he's associated with
Yeah,
and can
INEOS,
benefit him more
basically.
to actually
Yeah.
have his branding on the shirt rather than Qualcomm? So it showed at that point that whoever is
Yeah.
going to be coming in won't be a full owner.
Yeah, that was a big kind of breadcrumb. I agree with that.
Because,
Tim99 has put in, I don't know, it's not a chat, but it's just like a donation of 99p. So thank you very much, Tim99. You absolute legend. Would you say something then, Sam?
Yeah. Oh.
You're on mute. You're on
Sammy
mute.
muted.
Sorry. The Adidas kit deal as well, wasn't it? That we re-ups that during
Yeah.
this period as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like 5 year, was it 4 or 5 year deal, whatever it was?
Yeah.
Biggest
6 years,
kit
I
deal.
think.
Yeah, biggest
Yeah.
kit deal in history, like the most money, blah. So that was another one where you're like, why have they done this? Like, why? Do you know what I mean? It's a bit strange.
Yeah. Aaron, who's you going to go?
Yeah, I was going to say, you could imagine Sir Jim's first day, when he went round all chatting, met Ten Hag and all that, and then just someone coming through, oh, nice to meet you. And then it's all the legal bills you got to pay.
Yeah, big fucking stack there. So this is from Avram and Joel. Welcome to United. Just the last thing on Rain, Aaron, as kind of Roy Keane would say, I know they was just doing their job, but we was getting dragged through the mud because of them really wanting. I know their job is to push certain things and try and get as much, but they obviously played a massive part in how long it dragged out for, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, but you got to remember who they were providing a service for. The most, obviously, the most stingiest that fucking owners has ever
Do you
been.
reckon a documentary would ever get done about him?
I
The
hope so.
Glazers.
I fucking hope so. Like, if nobody was filming this whole process, then they've missed out on a
Surely,
million
innit?
pound idea. Like, that's
Surely.
Netflix gold, that shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are the definition of fucking short arms and deep pockets, man, because they just do not. They just
It's
like
so
little
true.
T-Rex arms that can't reach the pockets.
Yeah.
Or something like.
Mm.
But now, I don't know how much I would put on the ring. Obviously, they're going to milk the Glazers for everything they could have got, but it was
It's not even the Glazers, mate. It's milking us, milking the club.
Yeah,
They ain't paying shit.
Sir Jim.
Yeah.
Sir Jim. They were vetting him out and just thinking, yeah, this sucker's going to pay us more money, but.
They don't come across as smart people. That's the thing. Like they don't. I'm not saying they are smart because they're doing this, but they seem to find fucking loopholes. Anytime they need to pay a penny, they're like, "Oh yeah, just put it through that card, mate, or put it on that, or yeah, he'll pay it." Do you know what I mean?
That's bankers, mate. That's how they operate. Like if you watch, there's a documentary called the Big Short, I think.
Oh, I know what you're on about.
And it's basically about the 2008 banking crisis and how it went down. And it's like, if you've not seen it before, go watch it, and it just show you how much these fuckers don't know and why they caused the recession in 2008, because these fuckers were gambling on mortgage losses and mortgage foreclosures. These fuckers are ruthless cocaine psychopaths. Like, they're out of the fucking minds. And this is the sort of society that these Glazers come from and their dad came from. This is the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
You could imagine like Avram having a Capital One credit card in like his dog's name or something like that.
Yeah, that's Busters, mate. Don't worry about that. Okay, now. Ronnie Dodge has sent another super chat saying, you guys seen the reports of us leaving Carrington. Shreyas, do you want to go for that?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff that they're looking at, practically golf courses, for open spaces, and, they want practically like a good acre space of land to actually build a complete new facility in, which I think I definitely, understand from a different perspective. I think a lot of fans might not have the same sentiment, because a lot of fans maybe have a soft spot for Carrington. But I think overall, moving into the future, I think it needs to be done, because we've been hearing it from a lot of people, even the youngsters like Charlie Savage, who went out for permanent transfers this season. They said their clubs in League One and the Championship have better facilities in their clubs than Manchester United. So I think it needs to be done, and it is definitely something that should be done quite some time ago as well, because you would want all your players to be, with the best infrastructure. Maybe it does help with their fitness issues as well. Maybe it helps them to perform better on the field, and maybe it helps the manager actually a lot as well, because I think whether it's Ten Hag or whoever it is, they would want even in the practice sessions to actually, the player to be at their full intensity. And I think that is something which has maybe aggravated the number of injuries that we've had this season. So considering that, I think going with a completely new facility is something that should be done. And I think it will help out the players and the entire staffing around it as well.
I think
Roddy said, didn't he, when he came back, that it had not changed since he left. Like, it was the same.
Yeah.
Like, it was
I
the same
was
thing.
literally
Like,
just about to say that.
Yeah, like, it's the same thing.
I was about to... Go on.
Charlie Marmon in the chat. Apparently, the person who's looking into this right now is the one who designed the Leicester training ground. And that's like one of the best facilities in Europe, I believe. I think it's like ranked really highly. So the person involved right now is the one who designed that. So that's quite interesting.
I was just going to add on the Ronaldo thing when you said about the swimming pool, and then I think it was like, I seen it. It was only about a month ago. The report came out, didn't it? That United had the swimming pool fixed. It's like, come on, man, keep that in house.
Keep it, first and foremost, keep it in house. And the second thing is that United are a reactive club.
Yeah.
They're not a proactive club. As soon as someone mentions it, like that, there's a bit of tiling off there, mate. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll sort it out now. Don't worry about it. Why not just look at it in the first? You've been walking past that every fucking day. Change it. What are you doing?
I could just imagine it though, like they're saying, "Don't worry, boys, the swimming pool's getting fixed," and then they're coming in still like an inflatable one.
That's what they patch shit up, and they are reactive. That is just United in a nutshell. Hopefully, this all kind of changes with INEOS coming in. I know there's a lot of kind of positive articles from the Athletic on this that. They've spoken to people inside the club, and they're so refreshing. They've come in and they're putting football as a priority and everything around that, which is obviously really nice to hear. On Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Shreyas, there was a bit apparently that this is from the Muppeteers, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was getting fed up, and even the Glazers. Give the Glazers a kind of Christmas deadline to get this deal done. At that point, it couldn't have gone on for any longer, surely, could it? Because we've been through the ringer for what was it, like 13 months, I think, the total. So to then announce it on Christmas Eve as well was just like in typical United fashion, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think considering someone who's looking to buy a stake at United, even he must be, from as a third party, he'll be looking from outside and seeing what we've been doing on the pitch, the reports coming out from the dressing room as well, and completely United as a whole package as well. If he sees it and he'll go, if I want to be in this club, I need to have the time to actually set things right, because I think what might have happened would be that this delays even further and might even affect next season, and that would be a very, very bad situation for INEOS, because I think for any owner coming in, they would want one perfect window where before which they can actually put all their people in. They can put the right people in the right places according to them, and then actually have a full-fledged window where they can actually go about whether it comes to transfers, whether it comes to the whole policy, whether it comes to training facilities and everything. You need time for that things to actually be in place. So I think by Christmas time, like all United fans, even definitely he must have been fed up, because considering that his last offer was in March, that was it was just going on and on and on and on. It's a big time frame, and I think it was the right call on his I would say side as well, to actually put this in, that make a decision on it, because imagine if it didn't happen. We all know Glazers aren't ones who would make decisions very quickly. If it was up to them, this could go on another year.
Yeah, as long as they get the absolute maximum out of it, that's all they give a shit about, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think Christmas time, I think it was the perfect time for them to actually come in, because we all knew that the winter window was definitely not going to be affected by the ownership at all. We were going to have one loan or two loan signings at max, either way. And I think, but now, because now that they've come in, we have a good chunk of time to actually get in the right people in, getting the right people in the right positions, and actually make a new policy regarding our summer transfer window, identifying the targets and actually getting them in before preseason starts, rather than just waiting on them when the season starts and then they join in late. They don't have a preseason, they are not able to integrate with the team, and it just affects the entire squad as a whole.
Absolutely.
So I think it is a good call that it happened around Christmas time. He's got the time now, and I think by the time next season rolls in, I think he'll even have a better picture as to whether he has to continue with Ten Hag or not. Because I think if it didn't happen, Ten Hag might have actually gotten a free pass that, this and this has been going on and I wasn't able to perform that well. Maybe Ten Hag would have continued either way into next season, but I think now he'll be under much, much more of a narrower scope as a manager.
Well, that leads me into my next point. I want to get a general consensus on this, and Sam, I'll go to you first. INEOS coming in now. You've got a couple of angles that people are speaking about, saying, not sure, Dave Brailsford, for example, he's been hugely successful in sports, but not necessarily in football. Who's the right people to bring into the structure? Other kind of things we discussed with Carrington and stuff like that. What's your overall feeling about them coming in? And as we head into the summer, do you feel confident enough? And that's, again, a question to the chat as well. Do you have positivity about what they're going to do, or are you still quite sceptical?
Before I answer that, Ben Jacobs has just tweeted something really interesting.
Go on.
He says, those close to Sheikh Jassim refute the SEC filings. I think the SEC is a stock exchange commission, outlining far lower bids than widely reported throughout the process, and deny any failure to provide proof of funds. They indicate they gave all the necessary financial commitments, including a bank guarantee signed by the CEO of Qatar National Bank. They maintain their final written offer was just short of $6 billion. An additional $1.3 billion of additional investment was specified in written form. The Jassim was willing to go higher but pulled out because he believed he was being played or fleeced. The SEC filings, however, and numbers strongly contradict this, as previously outlined. Those close to the sale process insist if the above numbers were accurate and had evidence of, they would have gladly accepted the Qatar offer. So that's from Ben Jacobs just now.
Yeah, it's mad how it's all coming out now, though, isn't it? I think the timing sometimes is a bit strange.
Maybe the NDA's up. Maybe the NDA's been released. I'm not sure. But yeah.
Just before you think it, Sam, sorry to comment.
Sure.
Megard saying, what's up, guys? Watching from Norway here. Haha. Well, big up to yourself. It's always nice when someone's watching from a different country. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well if you are new when you join and you're wondering what's going on. Sorry. He says, on behalf of all my new fans, I want to apologise for Ollie's time as a manager. Well, on the members video...
Never apologise for the Ollie time.
No, I never apologise. The members video actually is quite interesting because about 5 of them moments that I discussed the matches, some of the best moments, is I think we all can agree, Ollie's going to social give us. So it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's the best football post Fergie, I believe, under Ollie. It's just a shame, it didn't work out, but it is what it is. I think if the rumoured plans, obviously we've not had an official thing from Sir Jim Radcliffe about what his plan is. Obviously we've seen Sir Dave Brailsford around the club, we've seen John Claude Blanc around the club. There's rumours of Paul Mitchell, rumours of restructure, blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. So we don't actually know what his plan is yet. But with all the stuff that is being rumoured and seems to be lining up, and Sir Dave Brailsford is a sporting guy and he's all about marginal gains, so he believes if you can change something and get a 1% improvement, you should do it. And then if you do another 1%, it adds up to a lot. And that's what...
The tiling would be a good fucking start, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, he was the one who's when the Tour de France was happening and Team Sky were winning all these medals, he was the ones that was implementing stuff like bring your pillow from home, because if you sleep better on your pillow from home because it smells like and it's comfortable, so you get better sleep, which means you recover better, that kind of stuff. That's what he's kind of known for. So if he gets involved, and then you got football people like John Claude Blanc, who's obviously got experience at PSG, Juventus, and then Paul Mitchell, who's from Manchester, lives in Manchester, wants to be around his family, and is probably one of the best recruitment / football directors, whatever sort of job you want to sort of give him. Well known, Southampton, Tottenham, Monaco, etc. So if these people are rumoured to be involved and seem to be true from what's been reported, I think that's a positive step in the right direction. Obviously, like you, Nick, the proof's in the pudding, innit? You have to wait until they actually do the job, because we were all willing to give fucking John Murtagh and Richard Arnold a chance, weren't we? And then they cocked that up in the summer, and we're flying around Barcelona 4 times and fucking getting bitch slapped by Rabiot's mum and what have you. Do you know what I mean? So it's just you can't know until they're in the role and they're doing the job. But positive signs are it looks good, but again, you have to wait and see what they can do when they're actually in the role. But it's going to take a couple of windows, man. You can't undo all this bullshit and all this stuff that's happened under the Glazers the last 13 years in one window. It's going to take multiple windows, and I don't know how many United fans are that patient after the 13 years of shite we've had. So that's what you're contending with.
Yeah, Aaron, would you kind of second that? I haven't spoke to you much on here, at least, about it. Is your mind started to change slightly about INEOS, do you think?
Yeah, obviously from what we were being sold, which doesn't even sound like it was true anyway, the Qatari bid was probably the one I wanted to go for. But as soon as it was announced that it was Sir Jim, I was happy to give him a chance. I mean, it's got to be better than what we've had.
Yeah.
And then the people we're being linked with, like Sam said, Paul Mitchell, we're being linked with Dan Ashworth at the minute. They're all exciting people to bring in that. I do think it'll be slowly, but they'll take us in the right direction. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think even if the results aren't they're only getting marginally better, but you can see what we're building, kind of like Arsenal did with Arteta, when you saw that it was steadily getting better and there was something there. I'm happy for that. I'm not expecting us to win the league next year or the year after even. But I just want to see us go in the right direction, because so many times it's been like 5 forward, 10 back with new managers, etc. I feel like now we can maybe build a core so we can get the board right, and then everything should fall in line after that. So I'm happy to see where it goes, but I'm also aware that us United fans get told a lot of things in the media about, oh, this is happening, this is happening,
exactly,
and it doesn't happen. So I just want to see things materialize. I don't want to hear about it. Like you say, you want to see it. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. I do think it'll go in the right direction, but like Sam said, it's going to take time. It ain't going to be an overnight fix.
Yeah, well, you got trust issues like Drake at the moment. Shreyas, Ten Hag, I know we've spoken about him a few times. Do you think the inevitable is set to happen in the summer, or do you think it just purely depends on results either way?
I think for now, he won't be there, considering how things are going right now and things are rolling right now. I don't think that he'll be here. Of course, things can change really fast, because imagine he still ends up the season with, he gets a run in of games, probably gets a big result against a team like a City or a Liverpool or even an Arsenal. I think the biggest factor is the moment he actually beats a big team in the Prem.
Away from home would be nice.
Exactly. And I think right now any United fan just wants to see results. And I think the moment he beats a big team, once again, a lot of heads will turn and say, they'll once again be looking at a bigger picture, that he's had injuries. Now we're doing quite well. We're getting a lot of results and we beat this team. They're in the top 2 or top 4. They're contenders in the, for winning the title, because it happened during the Villa game as well. The moment we won that game, once again, a lot of heads turn that, we can still stick with Ten Hag, and I think it will keep on happening throughout the course of the season till it ends. So I think just from, looking at it from a now perspective, I don't think that Ten Hag will last, because of 2 reasons. One is his obsession with sticking to this system. I think it will cost him his job. Genuinely, it will cost him his job. And teams like Spurs, who are playing their B teams, are able to come in and actually just dictate the way they play. The thing with Spurs was they actually came to Old Trafford with the intention of getting a draw. They didn't come in with the intention to actually win, because it was their B team. So what all they were expecting was just take a point at Old Trafford and move on with it. And I don't think that even Ange Postecoglou expected that sort of a game from our side as well, because he expected that we'll be hitting them on the counter. So there is a big possibility that we might be able to nick a win. And that didn't really happen. So I think if he looks at it now, he will be going, we could have taken all 3 points from United easily in that fixture. And I think that's where I actually drew the line, because I thought if you cannot win games against B teams, and the fact that he brought on McTominay instead of Casemiro at that point, it just felt like, this is not the way it should be heading. It's not the right direction to be heading in.
Yeah.
But once again, he gets a run in. Maybe he wins the next 3 games on the trot. Maybe players reintegrate. Things can shift very quickly in football, and especially at a club like United, you get even a course of like 4 wins together. You move up the table. Things can change drastically, especially in the fans' perspective as well.
I don't know. I think it's ready to. When new owners come in, I think they already have a picture in their head, in my opinion, of who they want and who they want to mould it around. and I think heads are going to bump and clash, and I don't know. I mean, I hope he gets given a chance, but I'm not entirely sure.
I do think it's going to be very similar to Chelsea, because I remember when Todd Bowley came in and it was all the rumours he wants to bring his own manager in, and what he did was he waited for the season to start, waited till Tuchel had a couple bad results in a row, and then it was like, yeah, he's gone. And I think that's probably what I've been saying. Ten Hag won't see the season out. I think he does now.
Yep.
Just because of the circumstances, but I feel like, say if we're
After the season.
if we're 5 games in and we've lost 2 games or something, I think they'll be that quick to just axe him and get someone else in.
Yeah, summer there's going to be a lot of big changes. Sam, just a last bit of news around one of my favourite players. I know you know who I'm going to talk about. So Manchester United are now apparently planning to keep Amad Diallo beyond the closure of the January transfer window, as they believe he has an important role to play in the squad. And it was a bit saying, do you think Amad should be getting more minutes? I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question, but he deserves an opportunity now, right, for the next 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. I know Shreyas, his favourite player, has now gone on loan to Granada.
Is that confirmed?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I've not seen Romano or anyone, but like everybody else seems to be. So he seems like
it's on the verge, basically.
So that leaves you with Garnacho, who seems to be the first choice right winger at the minute. Anthony and Amad, they seem to be the wings at a minute. And you think if you lose Rashford, then Garnacho's probably going to revert to that left-hand side, isn't he? Because we've got no other left winger. So that would leave Anthony by himself on that right-hand side. And look, we've all spoken about Anthony on this channel and what we think of him. I think he was a flop. I think he was a terrible buy, and I don't think he's going to be good enough at United or in the Premier League. So I think you could do a lot worse than play Amad. Garnacho's doing really well there at the minute, so I think why not keep him, see what he can do. But like, give when we play Newport, I think this next game, why not give Amad a run out, see what he can do. Well, let's see what he's got. Obviously, Newport's not exactly the best level for thing, but get minutes in his legs, get used to it, blah blah, and then give him like half an hour coming off the bench, or do you know what I mean, like stuff like that. Just let's see what he's got, because Pulisic been given opportunities. He's done all right, but I don't think he's lit the world on fire. So I think Amad deserves the same opportunities, because I don't want to see Anthony there anymore. Like, I'm done with it. So Garnacho or Amad for me needs to be playing on that right hand side.
It's weird, isn't it, Aaron, how we've been so bad buying players in that department. I was saying the other day, like, when was the last genuine decent right winger we had at United?
I remember the last decent winger that we bought.
Yeah, like, obviously you've had spikes of form, like Rashford, for example, who's done really, really well on the left-hand side. But I'm saying, like, an out-and-out.
We didn't buy him anyway. So
exactly, yeah.
I think the last decent winger that we had, and he played, it turned into a right back, was Valencia.
Yeah. But he weren't like world class, was he? He was just like
but he was good enough to start. Like when he was starting.
All our other ones were academies, weren't they? Like Beckham, Giggs.
Yeah,
they're all academy prospects. So
and then you look before that, maybe like Nani,
Kanchelskis. Like, you know what I mean? That's a long time ago.
You're like in the 90s.
Fucking 90s, like mid 90s and shit there. It's strange, isn't it, Shreyas? Because when you associate United with a club that kind of is all about wingers and exciting and getting off your feet, to go that long without kind of having a hit in the market, without it, even playing fucking Juan Mata on the right hand side when he was, Chelsea's best 10. You're like, what the fuck's going on here?
I think definitely we went through a big phase where wingers used to get the crowd off their feet in a good manner. Now it is in a frustrating manner, because I just really don't know, because when we did get Anthony, there was a lot of hope. And with the way he started, first 3 games, he got 3 goals. Everyone was like, finally we've got the guy to play in that right wing position for us. Yeah. And after that 3rd game, he just went, I'm done. I don't want to do anything for this team anymore. Yeah, I've just done. I can rest now. And it's just, I think it's on that right wing position, we've shelled out like 160 million on just 2 wingers itself. One has gone on loan to Dortmund. The other, Garnacho, a 19-year-old winger coming through the academy, who is primarily a left winger, has just shifted him out of that position altogether. It doesn't, paint him in the best light. And I think personally, now that Garnacho is actually working there, I would just stick him on the right. no need to actually get another right winger. Just get another left winger in.
He's had more than enough opportunities for me, Anthony. Now, like, done. He's done.
He's definitely had, and even when he's gone out and he's come back, he's someone who has been brought back into the team within an instant. Like when he's available, he's playing every single moment. And even against Nottingham Forest, when we saw that cameo of Ahmad, it only happened because Anthony actually got an injury to his hamstring.
And
that's the only reason he
played against Nottingham Forest was better than anything I've seen from Anthony all season.
You got to think as well. You've paid so much money over the years for like wingers who've not worked. Di Maria didn't work. Depay didn't work. Like it's just there's every couple of seasons.
Careful, Aaron's in. Don't just be
sorry,
Aaron.
At United, he was shit. Obviously, he went on to do well for other teams. At United, he was shit. And we've invested in wingers who have just not worked. Like we spent lots of money and they haven't worked. And I don't understand why we can't get that right. Why we can't identify a winger and it work out.
Yeah. Especially when City go get like a Doku and instant hit straight away, like 50 million, unbelievable winger. And we spent almost 300 million.
With City, definitely a thing is the sporting director, the head of recruitment, and the manager are on the same page when it comes to signings.
Yeah.
They know what sort of a player that Guardiola will need. And I think it is easier I think even if we signed Doku would have flopped at United altogether.
Probably, yeah. Just an abyss in it for players.
I think the thing is, Doku has got the perfect guys to actually learn off from. When you've got players like Bernardo Silva, players like De Bruyne, players, I would even say Grealish, who have been playing in the Premier League for so many seasons. You know that you can learn off from them, and it sets up a cleaner environment. I think at United, one thing that we definitely need to stop, at least for the next 3 to 4 seasons, is don't sign any prospects, especially in the attack. Don't sign even a single prospect, whether it's a striker, whether it's a winger. Don't go for any young prospects that because I think for the past 5 to 6 seasons, we've been going for those sort of signings that are, this guy is about to take the next step. This guy is about to take the next step, and United can be the next step for him. It has never worked out for us. I would rather actually, want to go for someone experienced, in that 26 to, 30 age gap. I would want to go for someone like, in that sort of a profile, because these youngsters need someone to look up to. Garnacho is very young. Ahmad is very young. Even Anthony right now, he's at the club. He is also a very young winger. Rashford was supposed to be that, senior figure in the attack. He's not that senior figure in the attack. Højlund and Garnacho are carrying the attack right now, even when Højlund isn't even getting any passes into him. So you need a veteran in that line who can actually integrate this whole attack altogether. No need to actually go for these prospects and, we end up paying 70 or 75 million on practically every second season for a winger.
This leads perfectly into my next question, and the last question that I'm going to ask of the show. So make sure for all 24 people that are currently in the chat, leave an answer for us. Sam, I'll start with you, then I'll go to Aaron, then I'll go to Shreyas. Name one player who you would like Manchester United to sign and you would think would be a success at the club.
A realistic one?
Yeah.
It's like he's just one. Like it's a struggle, isn't it?
Just one.
It's a fucking struggle.
I mean, I can come back to you if anyone else has someone in mind. Anyone else?
I think the player actually Chiri mentioned on the show last night. I actually did quite a deep dive on him. I think Rafa is someone you can get in for quite a decent price as well, and he's someone who's actually gone under the radar. This guy, this guy is someone
prospect, right?
Yeah. He's quite old, and he's been delivering over 10 goals and over 10 assists consistently for the past 3 to 4 seasons, pretty much. And he's someone who's genuinely gone under the radar, and we won't need to, pay like 50 or 45 million for this sort of a player. You can get him on quite a cheaper price, and I think we need that sort of a player because you've got I think when it comes to United right now, you're sorted for the future. You've got Højlund, you've got Garnacho, you've even got Ahmad. You've got a very good, decent line of attackers who are quite young. You need veterans, and I think this guy, with the ability that he has on the ball, the price for which he'll be available for as well. And I think when it comes to Portuguese players, it doesn't take them as much time to, adapt to the United way. We've seen Bruno come in and do pretty amazing when he came from Sporting. So I think we can go in for someone like him, and he'll come in and we just need someone to come in and get us through that 2 to 3 year gap, and I think he can be perfect for that.
Okay, so Rafa for Shreyas, Aaron, Sam, who wants to go next?
I'll go. I might divide opinions, but I would bring in Dybala, for 12 million or whatever his release clause is.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old, so he's not over the hill just yet. If you look at his stats from this season and also last season, he's getting goals, he's getting assists. I know obviously it's not a high intensity league, but I feel like, he's won trophies, he's been in big teams, and I just feel like he gives us another dimension. I feel like we play a certain way all the time, and we don't have I don't even think we have a plan A, but we definitely don't have a plan B. So he's a different sort of striker. He likes to play off someone. So, whether you bring him in as like a false nine and let Rashford play off him, or you put him behind Højlund, and Højlund obviously gets more service. I just feel like he'll add a whole different dimension to our team, and I feel like we need that. We're so predictable before we've even tried to implement a system. We're so slow. Our strikers don't get service. We could switch up the formation if it's not going right after 55 minutes. Get Dybala on, get him playing close to Højlund, get him into feet and release him, because everyone was raving about Tammy Abraham first season for Roma, but it was Dybala that was feeding him week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I agree with Shreyas. Stop buying these young kids that haven't even got experience. We need players that are gonna, kind of like what Mourinho did second time in Chelsea. He brought in players that he knew that were going to do the job for him, no ifs and buts. He went to players like Fabregas and people like that he knew come in. They've got the experience and they do the job, because we're taking too many punts on these players that are costing big money because of potential. We ain't even got the time to be afforded to see what your potential is like. We need something to happen now.
Yeah, I think that's a decent shout, a very out there shout, but I like the explanation for it. Sam, are you going to put out there?
I think we need to get a midfielder. I think a number 8 is what we're lacking right now. Obviously, I know you're a fan of Frankie de Jong, but I just think that's off the table at the minute. I just
never off the table, ever.
So
he's 35 years old and he broke
off
his
the
ankle.
Table. He's going to be the new Wesley Sneijder, isn't he? He's just going to be.
No, but you talk about a number 8.
Yeah,
he's
perfect, but I don't think he's realistic. I know Newcastle have to sell a star because to do a financial fight.
Gomares.
Go get Bruno Gomares.
That signing.
You don't like Gomares?
No, I said I love that signing.
Oh, I thought you said I don't like that signing.
They need to sell to sort of get their FFP. Lucas Paqueta, West Ham. I like him a lot. I think he's fantastic. Yeah. Great player.
He cost about 80 million.
I think Onana from Everton is someone we can get in as well.
Everton,
because they need
another
to sell.
one. There's a guy, Napoli. What's he called?
Lobotka?
Yes, Lobotka. He's a very, very good player. I like him a lot as well.
Yeah.
He's like a younger Milinkovic Savic. He's that kind of player. So somebody of that profile. I'd love somebody of that profile. In the number 8, because we need it desperately. Scott McTominay, I don't ever want to see any Man United shirt again. I can't.
He's just done his first podcast ever on High Performance, I think.
Yeah,
that's going to be...
Yeah.
Seen a couple of clips from it. Well, he was
talking about passing the ball and fucking doing,
you want to see me crash a box? Unbelievable, top 10 in the world.
Fuck off.
I like all of them. So yeah, I mean, I don't need to say mine. I think you all know who I would go for. But if I was to say something other than I'd like Benzema, it costs too much. Vinicius gets a fuck, mate.
Did you see that rumor? Did you see that?
Yeah.
No, come on, Vinicius Junior to join Manchester United. I've never. It's bollocks.
Not even Neil Custard would write that shit, would he? Even Neil Custard would be like, yes, Vinicius Junior, fucking to United.
Vinicius Junior. He signed. I would honestly, like I said in the chat, I would do a live stream in just my socks.
Pants off.
We play him off the left or right?
Doesn't matter. Wherever he wants.
Wherever he wants to play.
Yeah. He play up top, do whatever the fuck he wants. Vinicius Junior, like one of the best wings on the planet. And sometimes these people are writing it at the time. The most when they go to press enter, they must be like, oh, I don't know, I can't
You know
put
what?
this.
You know, at the end of the season, we should do a show, and we'll collate all the headlines, and we'll rank the biggest reaches of the season.
Yeah.
that have been.
Yeah.
Vinny's number one. Vinny Junior's number one.
He's
like,
got
by
to be
far.
on it. I think
Mbappe
Custard-
number 2.
Yeah, Mbappe was the other one as well. I remember that. Custard's tweet about Sheikh Jassim being done is going to be in there. There'd be a few shockers if you really like dive deep into it, because some people spout absolute nonsense.
Yeah, and there's some like bullshit ones about the hygiene rating in the canteen. And
Oh,
who
yeah.
gives a fuck about that?
Come on. That's what I mean. Does that happen at any other clubs, or is it just United? Like, it's just like
Serving raw chicken.
1-star hygiene rating. Like, what the fuck, man? And it gets views. You're talking like thousands and thousands and thousands of views for shit like this. It's fucking crazy.
They're talking about hygiene ratings, and our owner with his rat's tail looks like he eats Russell's burgers every day. Like, who cares, man?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a weird place to leave it, but we can leave it there. Make sure you smash a like on the video for us, guys. I think we are currently on 4,077 last time I checked subscribers. So we're 23 or 4,100. If you are new and you've enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button, smash a like on the video, and drop us a follow on socials as well. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Insta, Real Reds Talk. We're absolutely everywhere. Do shit. Anyway, peace.